is that just actually reinforcing opinion in government more than anything, rather than the technicalities of it? And, it's probably a big issue for Jonathan Hill internally amongst his own staff and staff morale, and we've seen the statements from SIP2, but in terms of the government's reaction to that, is that actually more a fact of the timing and the fact it's doubling up with this as well, and that sense of the FAI that things aren't changing fast enough?
I think the problem the FAI are still battling with is that, and we all engage in it, right, to at various times, and sometimes it's just the punch bag, or sort of making this point maybe in a piece today. Like, FAI bashing it's always an easy win, and you can even sense with some of the government reaction the last couple of days, they're getting their comments on the FAI clipped up, and putting out there and so, because it always, it presses the right buttons for a lot of people. Like, we've seen this before in our Oireachtas committees, everyone likes everyone likes to get their moment. And if the FAI do end up in there again, I can understand why there might be some reticence. Like, this should be about a very important infrastructure plan. But you just know that some people, it kind of confirms perceptions that people have. And there's an element of playing to gallery sometimes about having a go. And that's why it's just such an own goal from the FAI to put themselves in this position. Like, a lot of governance issues have happened in Irish football in the last decade. A lot of governance issues have happened in other codes. I'm not undermining or trivialising what happened with Jonathan Hill. I mean, it's not good. The board itself have now expressed regret, which is suggesting that something happened that shouldn't have happened. It's Jonathan Hill needed to get away from this whole idea of being one rule for the CEO and one rule for the rest of the staff.
It needed to be whiter than white.
Absolutely. It needed to be held to a really, really high standard of governance. Like, that was the job. Like, you take over at that point in time, like, that is the gig. You have to be perfect. And the FAI's relationship is so fragile, and the confidence it establishes in this era is so fragile and can be shattered so easily, because you even see earlier this year with the funding arguments that I think, in my view, very valid funding arguments were being made, but the backlash you would have encountered from a lot of people in the public is that the FAI, how could you give them money? And people within the FAI who are working hard would say, well, that's not fair. That's not fair. Like, this is about the game. And yet something like this just reinforces all the skepticism. And that's why it's so incredibly damaging. And that's why you have to get ahead of it as much as is possible to alleviate that. And that's why you might have to go into government in a couple of weeks and probably take a little bit of a theatrical kicking from some people over it. But there is a lot of internal anger around it too, and you can't get away from it. It has put Jonathan Hill and the FAI in a very tight spot here.